Dave is in a very dominant position in the tournament right now. He is 18.5 and 3.5 losses. He is 4.5 games up on Will, who is 14-8. So not quite guaranteed to win this tournament, but very close to closing things out. So Will needs to basically win this one to stay alive, pretty much. All right, I'm going to get the game analysis board ready while you guys can kind of stall and talk.
Excellent. So Will's drawing his first tiles. So the one, the only William Anderson, with all the Andersons that are surely in the chat, rooting for him to pull through. And then we have Dave Wiegand, the legend himself, the good Dr. Bing. I see Gertrude has returned after stating that there was a half of today for absence and missed out on yesterday. Glad to have you back, Gertrude. Let's see what else we have in the chat. Omri Rosenkranz has returned. Nice to have you here. Hello from Dublin. Lewis is here. Yeah, we got a wonderful mix of people. Let's have some typing in the chat here, where everyone is watching from this afternoon or evening or morning, depending where you are. Let's hear it. Or see it, I guess.
So yeah, I'm sure Will wanted to have a much better start than that. Probably some sort of big scoring opening play or a bonus to try and get ahead, but it was a disastrous first rack for him, so he'll be hoping for something better now on the exchange.
Yeah, it looks like he almost certainly has to exchange. There's basically no valid words possible here. I don't think you want to play Igloo, keeping IOU.
And he's got a humdinger of a rack there. Yeah, he's got a few bonuses, so he'll be happy with that. And a pretty standard response for Dave QI.
Yeah, Will has gone for the optimal switch to, or exchange rather, to.
I think I had a video lag. Did Will trade all 7?
I didn't see what he exchanged exactly, but he has pulled a bonus out of the bag.
Oh, all 7. Okay. After QI, 2-0. You actually had a choice between QI and Piezo there. Interesting. Or Piezed. All right. So what are the options here for Will?
So I think Kachori is good with an O.
Ooh, very nice. Kachori and Kacheri, both with an E, yeah.
Yeah. I think someone in the chat mentioned Hey Rick as well.
Ooh.
Rickshaw as well. Looks like it's coming down. Very nice play from Will.
Beautiful. Yeah, that appears to be the highest scoring bingo, 85. So we were just saying that Will would like to have a big bonus to get started against Dave, and he actually does get it on turn 2.
Yeah, he got it eventually.
DEGPOTZ. All right. Certainly some strong responses available here for Dave with that Z.
And as the chat has pointed out, I think that Rickshaw takes a W.
Yes.
So let's see if that comes into play at all. But it looks more likely that Dave is going to play somewhere up at the top half of the board. Maybe something like Toast, which is what he's lining up. Looks like a good play to me.
Toast looks very strong indeed.
And it's going to block Wasbirds, which Will Anderson has just drawn.
Oh, yeah. Wasbirds. Oh, it's a shame to have that blocked.
Yeah, that would have been pretty. Too bad.
You could just imagine Will sitting there in his chair right now praying, please don't block it, please don't block it. Oh. All right, so Toads does come down, and it's going to be 85-76, a small lead for Will. The good news for Will is he played Rickshaw setting up that W and he drew it right away. So he'll have some W plays.
Swab's looking pretty strong here, hooking that on Rickshaw.
Sure is.
Yeah, that would be a very nice play. Sets up his second S there for Swabs.
Yeah, things are shaping up pretty nicely for him here.
Looks pretty good to me.
I don't think anybody in this playing room is going to miss the word swab, seeing as there's been a whole lot of COVID tests this week. People have been swabbing themselves nonstop.
Yeah. And just to clarify, I did see over the lunch break there were a few questions in the chat about a couple players in the standings. I'm just trying to think. We've had a couple drop out this morning.
Yeah, well, the big one was Jeff Teveno, who was in third place, and he
Yeah.
had to drop out of the tournament, unfortunately.
That was really unfortunate. That was out of an abundance of precaution. My understanding is that he technically didn't test positive, but out of an abundance of precaution based on some contacts.
Yep.
And as Sidewinder has pointed out, Dave has a 4-timer on with that quite ugly rack with the GP and the V. Something like evading looks like it's possible. There may be something else as well, but evading will be one way to sort that ugly rack out.
Very nice, yeah.
I can see Alex Dings has mentioned exactly that. Evading is a double-double for Dr. Bing, just a little further up in the chat. It's looking like a pretty solid option there.
You can also play padding. They both score 48. Depends whether you want a leave of DP or EV. Yeah, both very good options there. And both unlikely to be blocked because it looks like Swab is Will's best option. So it looks like Will is still taking his time here.
Yeah, I remember him mentioning on his stream before that he can get a bit annoyed if his only bonus is blocked, and I'm sure in such a important stage of the tournament that he was a little annoyed that Wasbirds got blocked, but he just has to play Swab instead, and that's a very good play.
Yeah, that's what he's done. Very nice on his part.
It's like Swab is indeed the best play. Computer confirms that, and now it's back to Dave, and we'll see which of his several double-doubles he chooses here. Pandied is also available through that DI, so 3 of them in total he could choose.
And for those of you who play poker, I'm not sure how many other communities use this term, but EV, technically, one of the leaves possible, is a term used to describe the value after a play.
Expected value, yeah. It would certainly be plus EV here to fight a double-double. Yeah. Rizumov in the chat says, define vepadding. Yeah, I don't think so. Looks like Dave is arranging pad NG on his rack.
Going for the more literal plus on the EV to keep that left over.
He also has Dave Pong through the O, but
Dave Pong.
that's unfortunately not a valid word.
That's not one of the after hours games I've ever played before.
Not yet, my friend, not yet. All right, padding is going to come down from Dave. 48 points, very strong play there. Got ourselves a close one, 124, 122.
And what's the score difference between padding and evading?
They're the same, 48 to 48.
48, yeah. So he's kept EV instead of
DP.
PD. Mm. It's interesting. The rickshaw spot has a very dangerous triple letter score there for something like Azo or Oxo in the other direction, but neither player has the tiles needed to really take advantage of it.
Yeah, that's true. At least not yet, anyway. I'm sure Will's happy to have 2 S's because there's plenty of ways to just use your S's for point scoring on this board. You know, hooking an S onto rickshaw or onto padding is a way to get easy, big scores.
Yeah.
So a few suggestions in the chat. It looks like voids and paddings is one of the options suggested. That's certainly one of the candidate plays.
Yep.
Let's see what else we have here. Dovish was suggested as a nice board vision type play, but voids, says Lewis, is better than that. We have a question who the new commentator is. This is Paul Gallen. He is a very, very strong player from the other side of the pond relative to us. Excellent, excellent player.
Looks like voids is the choice for Will there. You could have also chosen divots making rickshaws. That would have been 45. But voids is,
Yeah, I just noticed that. What was the point difference?
6.
there.
Divots is 45, voids is 39.
Yeah.
So S versus ST as a leave. Probably divots is a little better.
I think that is Plateus there on the left-hand side for Will.
He also has lithates through the H, making QI.
Oh, very nice. Yeah. And Dave is bemoaning the fact that he doesn't have the R for beverage.
Will, however, have some beverages this evening. There's a good chance they are celebratory beverages, depending on how things go. But
Oh, that's right. He's buying.
yeah, I think it's pretty clear he'll be buying some drinks.
I would say he's probably guaranteed at least the $1,000 for fourth place at this point, even if all 3 of these guys pass him.
So beer, much beer.
The prize table for those who are just joining us is $10,000 for first place, and then 5, 2.5, 1. $5,000 for second place, $2,500 for third, and $1,000 for fourth. So both these guys are very likely to get a nice payday tomorrow afternoon. Looks like Dave is still kind of fiddling around with this rack of beavage, trying to find the right play. Well, Paul, he's got above in that hot spot you were talking about next to rickshaw for 31. That's one choice he could go with.
Does he above? Does he not need another O for that? Is that my... Oh, in the other direction. Sorry, I was thinking horizontally. Yeah, so downwards. Yeah, that's nice. He's got Vega lined up. I'm trying to see where's he looking for Vega?
Oh, he's going to put Vega there. Okay.
Oh, Vega over on the left-hand side. So blocks Plateus, but won't block lithates.
Right. Let's see some.
And we'll surely see that.
Looking for that board vision coming through in the clutch.
Well, he doesn't play it right away, but that could just mean that he's checking to make sure there's not anything better he's missing.
Perhaps playing with his food. You never know.
Yeah, lithates is the only bingo available here, so he's got to play it.
Penny Blank asks, is there a way to tell how many tiles are in the bag? Just got here. We tend to display the remaining tiles when there are 14 unseen from one player's point of view, just so that the letters are large enough on screen once they're displayed. And that will be displayed in the top right corner of the broadcast once we get to that point in the game.
But if you ever really want to know, you can just ask and I'll tell you. It's right now 54 tiles in the bag, in case you care. So less than halfway through this game. Plenty of Scrabble still to go.
And that's a great play from Will. Very easy to overlook that and get drawn into maybe dipping a couple of tiles off there rather than getting the bonus down and 7 fresh new tiles, 1 blank unseen. So great play, Will.
Very nice. Speaking of beer, Dave has now arranged beer on his rack. Beer is playable in the spot on the right side above lithates, but the much better player than beer in that spot is Emir, E-M-E-E-R.
Or perhaps Mobe.
Yeah, or Mobe.
A few other questions. If Dave, as in Dave Wiegand, is Gibsonized, will he be playing people out of the money? My assumption is that would be correct.
Yeah.
Evidence is nodded.
Yeah, I mean, the one little hiccup there is that we don't have a pairings break in between rounds. So, for example, if Dave is Gibsonized after round 26, that won't be reflected in the pairings for round 27 because they'll have already been done in advance. You see what I mean? But we will eventually change the pairings to have him play people out of the money, and then we'll have a very tight race for second place in that hypothetical. among Will, Evan, Jesse, all those guys. And the race for second place is right now extremely close. There's 4 players all within a half game. Evan is 1 tie ahead of Will, David Webb, and Jesse. And Eldar's a game back as well. Anybody's spot there, that second place. All right, Mob is the choice, and the computer says that's correct. 42 points and an okay leave of EER.
Psychologically, from Dave's point of view, he'll want to get this tournament wrapped up as soon as he can, because there's just so many good players in the pack there that could put a run together, and the tiles can turn so easily. So he's on a great run at the minute, and he'll just want to finish his job as soon as possible.
Absolutely. Let's see, what does Will have here?
AWOL was suggested in the chat as a nice play for Will. I agree, it's looking pretty solid to me.
Yeah, you keep that AINRT, and there's a few floating vowels you can work with for potential bingos next turn. Looks very nice. You can also play something down from that S in swab with the W, like swirl or swart. Looks like Will's going to take his time and think about this one a little bit. Oh, he certainly arranged the W and the L there on his rack, though. I'm sure he's considering AWOL. Yeah, looks like Scott in the chat says AWOL looks best. Can't argue with that. AWOL is 8 points less than Swirl.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what Will does here. Is he going to play Swirl and open it up a bit more, or is he going to play a little bit tighter here? Do feel some of the previous opponents have been a little bit cagey against Dave's bingo power and how well he's just picking and playing this week. And yeah, there's AWOL coming down there. So with the floating A as well, I'm sure Will is pretty confident he's going to get a bonus down next turn.
It's also it's a great point you made, Paul, as far as adjusting for playing style potentially, or your opponent. If there is, there's lots of players with relatively strong word knowledge here, but if there's one person who would not be afraid to swing the board wide open due to word knowledge, it would be Will, because of how devastatingly good he is on aerolith and other things that finding words.
Yeah. Oh, he didn't draw very well. IU.
Yeah, that's a very bad draw.
Yeah, no bonus with those tiles. He would need like a C for uranitic or an S for rain suit.
Rain suit, yeah. And really, if he had got the 2 tiles that he had needed, that pretty much would have put him in commanding position in this game, but that's going to slow him down considerably, and he's going to have a very low scoring play next turn again.
Lewis mentions he wonders how often AINRT bonuses next turn. Well, apparently not often enough in Will's case in this one. And then Foundering mentions Dave and Will are 1 and 2 on the Aerolith Hall of Fame. And I trust you would know, because if I do recall correctly, Foundering, you are pretty high up on that list yourself as someone who scores very well on Aerolith all the time.
So out of curiosity, I checked on Quackle how often that play of AWOL bingos, and the answer is about 61%.
Wow.
So pretty unlucky that Will drew IU and is now nowhere close to a bingo.
So Dave's in a similar position to what Will was. I think Dave probably knows that Will kept 5 nice tiles, and he's got single pointers himself. So is he going to take some points with entrees as Sidewinder has suggested, or is he going to play a kind of a fishier type play, dumping the double E or the double O? Will be interesting to see what he does. He is trailing by a bonus, so he probably needs to get this right.
Perhaps revote is a nice compromise. It scores pretty decently and still keeps a pretty decent lead of EN.
Yeah, that's a nice option.
But maybe you don't want to compromise. Maybe you want to go aggressively for a bingo as soon as possible.
Looks like it's a different option than either of those. He's opting for Eon and Chin.
Yeah, it's a nice halfway house. But it doesn't go well with that E. Then he's got 2 E's already. I might eat my words here. Yeah, he's got retirees and resteer on the right-hand side.
All right, then we got a game.
And of course, lots of other 7-letter words there. Surely some of them go down. Maybe they don't.
Well, AWOL takes an S, so we've got that area of the board as well.
Yeah.
Got some great feedback on you as a commentator already there, Mr. Gallen. Apparently, they feel like they're listening to a smooth jazz radio host, and also they're now thinking of ASMR Scrabble with your dulcet sounds as you were talking. Well done.
Thank you. I was a bit worried. I do have a very deep voice, so you never know how it comes across.
It's worked okay for me. I think you're doing pretty good too.
Thanks, Jesse. I think there's a flashy 9 there as well for Dave, unless if I can see the screen right through the. Yeah, no. It needs another R. I thought he had retrieves there, but he doesn't.
Wait, does he not have retrieves? Oh, he has 2 T's. Never mind. Yeah, I see.
Yeah, 2 T's. Yeah, that's what I thought.
All right. So if Will wants to, he can blow up the rack. He can play Vitrain from the V in Vega, hooking the A to make Aeon. Oh, that actually is a really nice play because it prevents bingos ending with the S in AWOLs. And he does make that play nice.
Isn't great.
Nice.
Keeping the U isn't great, but you may be chasing this other blank as well, turning over 6 tiles. You may think getting it will seal the game. But yeah, there's definitely a board control element to it, but Dave's rack is just too strong.
Yeah. Would expect Restier to come down. Yep, and sure enough, he's arranged Restier on his rack. Not sure what to make of this rack that Will has drawn. Interesting combination of letters there. Yeah, he'll have some ways to score with that H, but nothing too spectacular.
Yeah, I think most of those letters that he picked up there would have done very nicely on the previous turn, but yeah, that's Scrabble.
Looks like Dave is shuffling the tiles back to Restier again after some second thoughts. He is going to play it. Okay.
Maybe leaves something like, purely for points shrug, but he's probably going to consider some options that are a bit more balanced. In the chat, shrug being a candidate play.
Oh, very nice. Yeah, shrug plays through the R in Restier. Yeah.
So Dave is picking his new tiles now. Is he gonna get this blank?
Ooh.
He does.
The good doctor is on a tear.
Well, we got ourselves a close game, 292 to 290. But if Dave's able to get a bingo soon, that could change.
And a couple of people in the chat have pointed out that he's got unfairly through the R of Restier. And that will score a lot of points with the F on the triple letter score.
There is unsafely as well, has been pointed out with the E in mode. So there is at least one option for Dave no matter what next turn.
Yeah, and Dave is finding both of those. No doubt about that. Is there a way that will block it with, or block unfairly? No, he's going shrug.
And the word unfaulty is pointed out in chat.
Yeah, three
And
options.
unfaulty now plays from the U and shrug for a whole lot of points.
Jeez, yeah, unfaulty or unfairly are both very high scoring.
Oh yeah, unfaulty. Yeah, that's a beauty.
Dave shrugged.
Oh, did they shrug? Oh, that's amazing.
He shrugged because he's like, yeah, I got options.
Did anyone ask Conrad the other day about his play of cross arm that he was
Yes.
looking at, and then he was crossing his arms as he
Yes.
was deciding on it?
I can confirm that
that's
that
a
was
unique-
intentional. He did do
It
that on
was
purpose.
intentional, yeah.
Yeah.
Very nice. I don't think Dave gave him any information about it.
Wait, Connor was trying to get a response out of Dave to indicate whether the word was good? Are you
No,
serious?
no, he was
Oh,
just
okay.
trying to see what would happen. So he said the response was that arms were crossed intentionally.
But I'm wondering, like, was Conrad crossing his arms to see if Dave reacted? Because if cross arm is a word and Dave knows that, he would probably, laugh upon seeing Conrad cross his arms. Was that the intent?
No, I think he just wanted to see what Dave would do. I think Dave just crossed his arms as a joke, is what I understand. But Conrad was pretty sure that cross arm was a word, but didn't want to lose the game, so he just made the winning plays.
Yeah, of course. Oh, it looks like he's found unfaulty.
Yeah, and that's a brilliant find. He could be forgiven for throwing down unfairly very quickly, which would give back jet on. But unfaulty.
He looks a little bit
Be
nervous.
much
He might
better
not be
position.
sure of it.
He's also playing one of the only people who would immediately challenge him if he's wrong.
Oh, I don't know about it. Maybe immediately. I mean, that's hard for anybody, even somebody of Will's caliber, to be sure of. And surely he knows that unfairly is good, and so it's, do you really want to take the risk on a play that's only slightly better? I'm not even sure if it is slightly better. I think they're both the same score, right? 92 either way.
Yeah, and this is the psychology of Dave being ahead. He's 3.5 games ahead. He probably is saying to himself, don't make any mistakes, just play valid words and so on. And he's got a word that he's fairly sure of, but he just doesn't want to pull the trigger just yet on it. He may go for unfairly instead if he's not sure, which will give back jet on. So this is, as a few people are pointing out, a very pivotal moment in the match.
For those maybe who don't play tournament Scrabble frequently or aren't familiar, you can see that Dave's put his letters back in alphabetical order. So he is searching his mind for the alphagrams that would be involved in a position like this. Zev Kaufman, Dave says he just completely missed lastborn. He knows the word once it was pointed out, but he just said he went through all the letters with the blank on that play in that moment and just did not come up with it at the time.
Yeah, Dave's record is amazing at 20.5, 3.5, and that one loss, if he had spotted lastborn, it would be another win that he would have on his score.
Yeah.
It would have put him in a great position against Conrad.
Marlon Hill says, with the X unseen, you have to go with unfaulty 1000% of the time.
Yeah, hard to argue with that. Yeah, you don't want to give back that spot for XU. But what percent sure of unfaulty do you have to be? If you're 80%, is that good enough?
No, he's looking at unsafely. He's just not sure of unfaulty. He hasn't looked at unfaulty again, so I think we're going to see unsafely. It looks like he's missing unfairly as well.
Yeah, I'd be surprised if he didn't see unfairly. That's one of the easier ones. Well, he's taking his time, though.
And Dave just has to be a little careful of the clock. He's down to close to 8.5 minutes here. And this looks like it's going to go to a pretty close end game, so you'll need a bit of time for that. What do we think for Will in response? He's got the J. Surely he's got a few decent plays there with that J.
Oh, he's going to have job if Dave plays unsafely. Ooh,
And
that's
this
not
is a
good for Dave.
yeah, this is a big moment. He'll be kicking
And,
himself.
Yep, he hits his clock. It's official.
Wow.
Yep, I would expect to see a very fast responsive job here. Not too much to think about. Best play by far.
Yeah, I think if Dave was in Will's position and he was 3.5 games behind, I think he would definitely play unfaulty. He's got to go for it. But I think just the fact that he just didn't want to play a phony there in that spot, he's gone front safely.
And now Will might even
And
draw a bingo of his own. He's got AEMNT. There's some open floaters to play with. We'll see what he draws.
Alex Sting's going for a little bit of a cheeky summary sentence there.
Is
We
that
can't
payment?
fault him for taking the safe option. That's fair. Well done. You've incorporated all three of the considered words. Very nice.
Looks like he's drawn payment, but no place for that, I believe.
Yeah, no place for payment by the looks of it, but he's got a nice rack. And that Y of unsafely will be useful for him. Something like matey or meanie or any of those type of M words.
Yeah, maint, M-E-Y-N-T, I think is the word.
So this is looking good for Will. If I were to put money on it, he's got a nice rack. Dave, it's quite an ugly rack, but he's got the X. But it's going to take him a while to sort out that rack.
Yeah, there's 13 in the bag. He doesn't have too much time to do it.
Yeah.
Do you think it's possible Dave didn't see unfairly at all? Because now that I'm thinking through the position, if you see both unsafely and unfairly, given you, if you're Will, you can't block both, it would make playing unfaulty almost immediate as something to do because you'll still have one the next turn. So I'm starting to wonder if he didn't see unfairly at all.
But I would say that he probably didn't. He wasn't sure of unfaulty, and he
Yeah.
didn't see unfairly. That'd be my guess, right?
That's my logic. What do you think, Paul?
Yeah, he's been lining up his bingos that he's seeing, so I feel like he just didn't see unfairly. Yeah, but ordinarily Dave would spot that, so I just don't know if he was spending a lot of his time working out whether unfaulty was good, and then he moved on to the E rather than the R to try and hit the triple word score. He spots unsafely, and then he narrows it down to unfairly versus unfaulty. Then he just landed on unsafely. That's my read on it, but you know, he may have decided tactically not to do that. Unfortunately, it's backfired because Will had job in response.
I'll see if I can get some insight later on. I'll try and have a chat with him. We'll get some.
I mean, he gave up 28
Yeah.
points to play unsafely. That can't have
Yeah.
been a deliberate choice. I think we know the answer.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't bother him with telling him what bingos he missed. That might mess up his mental state at
of
this point in the
course.
tournament.
Of course.
Yeah. We can pull up the unseen tile pool. There's now 18 unseen, so we're getting a little bit low. And an extremely close game as Dave leads by just a single point. And there it is. Okay.
Yeah, and those kind of 3 and 4 point tiles are probably going to be really key in this. It's very unlikely that there's going to be another bonus here. So whoever gets, say, the F, you know, could be the winner here. Dave really just has no scoring potential in this rack at all.
Yeah. Looks like meanie. Okay. All right. Updating the pool again and the score. So Dave's down by 44 with 6 in the bag. This might be desperation fish for a bingo time. There's no way to score this turn very much at all. So that seems like the only way to make up a 44-point deficit is to bingo.
And how many's in the bag there, Evan?
Six.
Yeah,
Six
so
tiles.
yeah, so he can't change even. So yeah, I think Dave's in big trouble here. And Will has got that F, so there is very little scoring potential in the bag for him. So I don't know if he can instigate a way to try and get a bonus here.
You can play Erie, E-E-R-I-E, through the R and rest here.
Yeah.
Just as a desperation try.
Yeah, it's not totally unreasonable. It just depends on, is there anything possible that he could have from the T and the O? I mean, Will would be forced to block it. The Erie opening.
I think there's enough floating tiles to bingo through that Dave is not entirely dead yet. I mean, he might get something into the T up top or something into the G at the bottom if he gets, very lucky. But obviously it's going to be unlikely. At least Dave knows that his spread isn't going to matter. Well, for two reasons. Number one, he's got a tie, and number two, his spread's already higher than everybody else's by far.
Yep. Got it covered on both counts.
So you might try Erie here just because you don't care whether you get beaten by 150.
Lewis suggests Uoi potentially as a play for Dave.
I mean, if you mean through the U, then it means you're killing some of your own bingos. Unless I'm missing the spot for Uoi.
So similar idea, he's gone for Rory, and that's, looks like, has Will held that? Yeah, it looks like he has. He's not sure. So that leaves 2 in the bag for Dave.
So there are going to be some bingos possible for Dave depending on what he draws. You could get something like in create at the top, or something like aerogenic at the bottom. Not impossible.
He has drawn a whole bunch of owls.
Oh, you hate to see it.
That's not happening.
Yeah. So was there a challenge? Did we determine? I guess.
I think
no.
he held, but he just allowed it.
Okay.
And sets our can we stream David Brown? Unfortunately, no. David Brown has withdrawn from the tournament, so that will not be possible.
So from Will's point of view, what else could be in the bag then? So there's obviously Dave's rack and then 2 others.
Yeah, so the tiles in the bag are CR.
CR.
So he doesn't know that Dave doesn't have in create or aerogenic. It's interesting, like from Will's perspective, he might think it's impossible to win 100% of the time because there are available bonuses at the top and the bottom of the board.
Yeah, that's a very good point. He's going to be worried about that.
And he can't very well play one tile either because he's just going to lose to a bingo. He's not up by enough points.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think from his point of view, he's just got to play on the triple word score and just hope that Dave doesn't have anything.
I see Net Donna has returned. One of our previous Twitch raiders has been showing up faithfully since that raid. Nice to have you back. Let's see, Lewis says can play the F for 20.
Yeah, I guess playing the F for 20 will put you up by 54. And then, I mean, all of Will's bingos score terribly. It's going to be, 63 or something like that. Or I guess Dave's bingos. I'm getting that backwards. So maybe you do just outrun bingos by playing off the F.
Is there anything that Dave can fish for now if he gets another opportunity?
Oh, there's a question.
And that's something that Will be worried about as well. I'm sure there's some sort of possibility he won't want to give Dave Wiegand another go at trying to get a bonus.
Yeah.
Marlon says if/F has got to be 100% as far as a play here tonight. What do you think, guys?
That would take some math, but I think that might be correct. I'm not sure. Because it puts you up by 54, and then Dave's theoretical bingo is going to be in the low 60s, and then you score a lot of points in the end game. Yeah, that's probably enough. So if he has Cinerea, that's actually 79. I didn't think of that. But then you're going to get a play through the E at the bottom and score very well. Yeah. I think Marlon's probably right that just playing the F is going to win. Oh, Jeremy points out Cornier is also. Yeah, so there's a few permutations of racks that you got to be afraid of here.
And from Will's point of view, he probably thinks Dave's rack is a bit stronger than it is, that he gave up the R in Rory, so that he's putting him on another R, probably. He probably has another E and an I, something like that.
True.
So he's definitely going to be worried about Dave having a strong rack. As it turns out, he doesn't. But it's going to use up a bit of Will's brain power on this.
These are some of the most annoying positions to be in as a player, being in Dave's position. Because your opponent's just like sitting there working really, really hard trying to win. And you're just like, I got nothing, man. I'm going to lose. I got to sit here and wait for this for no reason. This sucks. Yeah. Will is absolutely winning here, but he doesn't know that. It's just a funny thing. Yeah, to be clear, when we were talking about the fish of the F earlier, we were just talking about theoretical 100% wins. It turns out in real life, he's already 100%.
So what do we think Will is going to play here? He separated 3 sets of letters. Oh, he's just going to empty the bag. Yeah. Yeah, he didn't want to give Dave another chance at fishing, and he's just emptied the bag.
So I guess he was risking aerogenic. He would have lost by 28 if Dave Drac had been aerogenic, but otherwise he was pretty safe. It's one of those situations where you just say, I can't win 100%, but I'll go for 97% or whatever it is instead.
Yeah, it looks like it's taking a lot of energy out of Will. He's putting his head down, rubbing his forehead. And Dave just wants to get this over with. Play that down. But he hasn't blocked the outplay of Red Cap, I think. Is that on the bottom left?
Oh yeah, red cap.
Yeah, nice little out in that case.
Yeah, the best play would have been OE in the bottom left corner, just blocking red cap.
Darren Bader's like impersonating with Baker. What is this? I don't lose. Director. That would be quite the director called. Director, I'm losing. Looks like Will has played Perk very quickly.
Oh, he missed red cap. Huh. A little surprising, but everything wins, so no big deal.
I'm not sure what happened with the score on the stream. Updated.
Yeah, you're just lagging. I already got
Okay.
updated. Was Aki the outplay? I didn't see the very end.
Yeah, he played Aki in the middle
Alright.
there.
There you go. Yeah, that's the best play. So 485, 441. Will Anderson gets the win.
Yeah, nice game. Paul, when you're looking back at the game here, any particular move or sequence that stands out to you as far as something that might have swung the game or made a big impact?
Well, it was a very well played game. I think Lithiates was a very nice board vision play, but I think the big move is unsafely. I think if he gets on faulty down, I think Dave wins that game, and he's pointed at it. He knows that unsafely is not the play that he wanted to make, which is unfortunate. It's unfortunate when you see something you're just not 100% enough to pull the trigger on it, and unfortunately it probably cost them the game. But otherwise, it was a very, very well played game. No surprise these two guys are up at the top of the table in this tournament.
Yeah, I'd agree there. That was definitely a position with much discussion. I would say by far in the game, those three different bonus possibilities.